Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another H2O Explains. This is game number 4 in this series between H2O and ACERGAME, played for the round of 8 of the Winter Championships 2016. And of course, this series is all about H2O telling us his thoughts, his explanations, everything going through his mind whilst we're playing the games from this tournament. Of course, this is game number 4, as I mentioned, in the series. So if you haven't seen the previous ones, there is a link in the description. You can go back and start the series. And if you want more of this kind of content, there is actually more from the past. I believe from the spring tournament, actually. So maybe this will turn into a regular thing. We'll see. But H2O, India is your pick here. What's the matchup and what's going on?
Yeah, so it's India Mir. He had to pick first. He picked India. It's on Cascade Range, so you have to pick India because India is a good civ on this map.
Yeah.
And the big thing on this map is the treasure dynamics. I'll pause it for a second. You get hyped in a minute. I know how much you love those moments. But yeah, so the big dynamics on this map are there's 3 treasures. There's 50 food, 40 wood, garbage coin, which is anywhere from 10 to 30 coin, and they're all around the map. So with 2 elephants, you just want to run around and try to pick up as many of these as you can. The grizzly bears take a long time to kill, so it's pretty risky to start them, but you have to because it's just good to start it. The 50 food is the best one because if you start it, you pretty much get it, and then obviously coins are just there. So both of us are running around. You'll see our scouting patterns are just fanned out looking for wood treasures. He finds 2 of them and starts 2 of them. Luckily, I run up on them, and
are you both on the same? Wait a minute. Is there 2 treasure contentions going on simultaneously?
There will be. There will be. We may not know this yet as a viewer, but I'm pretty sure I can test that with this. So this
rapid moving around. It disorientated me.
Yeah, my mistake. You'll see soon. There'll be 2 at once, basically. So what I'm looking for here is just you'll be able to tell when he takes the last swing at the bear, and then that's when you want to try to go down on the treasure. He canceled and tried to fake me, and then I finished and went for it first.
I see. I like that. I like that he tried to dupe you into going down for it and, clicking off and messing up your Hawkeye eagle vision, waiting for him. I think there's a lot of value in that duping kind of thing, but you didn't fall for that.
Yeah, we both turned on it, and then you just have to be ready to keep watching, right, in case they don't. Another contention here. And you'll notice the angles at which people are standing is this is a tough angle for me, but I still get it. He didn't quite make it in time. He actually clicked earlier than I did. You heard that knocking sound? It was him going too soon on the treasure. And so I ended up picking up 80 wood here. Those are really key moments in the early age 1 in this matchup. Every bit of wood's going to get you up faster. Nothing too exciting there. I think we all know that, but here we go again. 2 more. This game was ripe with treasure contentions, right? So now we have 2 more simultaneous treasure contentions for 50 food. This one we're battling over here. I'm trying to.
How are you looking at both of these? You can't possibly that one was pretty easy to grab.
He got this one. I got this one. Part of me, I wish we could kind of coordinate a little better on some of these, but. Because the ones with the wagon, there's certain angles that you can't go down on the treasure on, but we'll explain that in another video probably. Eventually we'll run to one of these times where I see it happen, but
yeah. I know you've mentioned before there are very specific angles on some of the wagon treasures that you can more easily get, actually go down to pick it up in. But yeah, we'll see that, as you mentioned, they'll come up. It hasn't come up here, but another treasure here looks like another 30 wood, 40 wood, something like that.
2 more 40 woods. There's one there, and there's also one I'll run to up here. And I ended up getting both of those. So I ended up getting 160 wood, and we both got 50 food. So, a huge win for me in age 1, but that's because I won 2 treasure contentions, right? It could have very easily been a tie or, a smaller difference had he won any of those trades, or if he had just caught me trying to do these, right? But he didn't find them. So overall, overall, right here I'm doing the usual India stuff. We both are just get 800 food, age up, minimal idle time. I probably could have done a better job of chopping wood here. I ended up idling a little, but what I was really worried about was him being aggressive or getting a wonder spot, or me not getting my wonder placed because of how small the middle of the map is, if he tries to block it. Because I was picking up both these wood treasures, which means I can't scout, so I just wanted to get the wonder started.
So how much of your attention would you say is actually on these treasures in this early portion of the game, as opposed to like managing the villages in your base or really doing anything else in the game? Like, how much of your attention is specifically on these treasures, and how much of that attention do you think really converts to actually getting the treasure as opposed to your opponent actually getting it?
I would say it's probably like 80-20 focused on scouting, getting treasures, you know, the dynamics of where their explorers are, where they're going to go next, where should I go next. It's the main focus of the early game.
So really spending your APM wisely on, you know, actually stuff that you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Age 1 is not this boring thing that seems to get washed over, I think, a lot in commentary.
Yeah, and I think, too, the community in general has a misconception and just wants to believe it's all luck. We mentioned that a lot in the H2O Explained series because I'm pretty strongly against that notion. I think it takes away a lot of the excitement from what is actually a very challenging thing to do, which is win Age 1, and I also think it's... I think it also takes a lot away from, just in general, people getting better at the game. Because if you believe that it's pure luck and that, you know, it's hopeless to think about Age 1 and all this other stuff, you're never going to start getting all these, you're never going to start scouting correctly and winning treasures. And, you know, through WCG, I practiced a ton of games on, you know, there were Japan mirrors on maps like New England, which has, you know, like 780 food treasures, right? So...
Yeah. And you want to make sure you get that down, being able to pick them up and winning Age 1, because I know you value Age 1 as a thing, and I think that's a important thing to getting better with the scouting patterns that you mentioned and things like that. But two agroforts pretty close to each other. I noticed that you herded that hunt towards your agrofort, you know, perhaps to deny them that, or just to secure yourself some extra food, because that's where your villagers were. You're doing it again there. Yeah, what's going through your mind here?
So, I'm glad that you mentioned that. So, I actually pulled these 3 villas to build the Wonder because I saw his Wonder started before mine. Like the foundation was advancing faster than mine, and I was just trying not to lose to any cheese because I'm pretty sure in this matchup I can beat him in a straight up game. So when I saw that I was aging up before him, I instantly dropped the villas back to gathering food and go back to my normal, you know, everyone's seen this before, the imperial bureaucracy. Right when you get up, you know, not even before you build the house and all the normal boomy India stuff I like to do. So once I saw that late Wonder, I knew I was good. And you'll notice the big thing on my mind right here is what is he doing? Like, I want to know if he's trying to age up cheese me, if he's trying to Sepoy Soar cheese me. I know he's going to be up to something. I just need to know what it is. Drop a segment of wall here just to be 100% sure that he can't walk in on me. Obviously, he can. Yeah, obviously he can walk around it still very easily. He can come in through here or down here, but it's just like a mental thing. Like, you don't want to get stuck in these little corners. So.
It feels almost like, you know, when you talk about base defense in some of the previous matches, it feels like you can sort of employ those abilities there when you, like, closing off the area with a wall there. Yeah,
and I also like leaving gaps, actually, opportunities for, because this is more a trap than anything. Like, if he actually tried to go through that gap, like, he would take so much damage trying to get through there, and then he would have a hard time getting back. Some of the units would get stuck on the other side of the wall.
And it gives you the opportunity, right, to pop units or a bash unit or a shipment of units and have your other units on the other side of the wall, you know, the ones you've already got trained. And things like that are made possible, I suppose. But how come, I think something interesting is you didn't build a wall, like, you could have built a wall maybe around his agrofort, not all the way around, but, you know, sort of like blocking it somewhat. Did you think about that, or do you not value that?
I thought about that. Sometimes people will try to do weird stuff like wall around or like maybe wall this whole entire thing closed, but it just costs a lot of wood, a lot of villager seconds, and at the end of the day, like if I built a wall on the other side, for example, he could just siege it down with like 2 Sepoy, and I can't ever stop him because the agrofort's there. You'll see
like a very Azam-esque style thing, though. I think he would be fond of that because it's more deliberate and big and meaningful. You know, I don't know what I'm talking about.
I know what you mean. It's something it's like a weird kind of quirky thing that I could see A's doing for sure. And so these elephants are going out and scouting. I just want to know what he's doing. I don't know. I saw 2 Soar or 2 Sepoy, and a lot of times ACERGAME does these weird strategies, and he is aware of, you know, the power of surprising people. So I'm not even satisfied seeing only the 2 Sepoy. I'm not sure if he's hiding from me. So I'm just looking. I want to find it. And actually, at this point, I was thinking he actually has no units, so I'm going to try to poke a little bit with my 4 Gurkha. You know, I've gone full boom, right? But apparently, he's managed to boom harder than that, is my guess right now. Or he's just behind in his build, right? I'm up 7 points, so you know, while continuing to boom, I feel safe doing this. But I don't feel like too safe. You know, like, I don't feel safe going past this point. Yeah. So I turn around and go back. You know, I just wanted to see if I could grab anything. No, he didn't give me anything, so.
You don't want to get too close.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to lose all those units if he does have something, but
yeah.
I felt comfortable enough to poke, and You see, I'm still scouting because I haven't seen anything really
Yeah,
telling.
what is he doing? I mean, like, I've seen the recording of this, and I know actually he's sending a bucket ton of shipments to Boom with, but, what are you thinking here? There's really not anything to go by.
Yeah, I'm like, I just don't know. I mean, he's down by 10 points. I mean, then I saw 7 Gurkha, which is the same as my Gurkha count at some point, maybe? No, it's higher than mine now. So I'm like, oh, okay. He's just playing H2, and he's just made too many Gurkha and not enough market tech. Turns out he just has sent bad shipments, right? So he's just doing a suboptimal build, which is giving me a huge lead. So you'll see I've sent 300 export, I've sent 600 wood, and I'll send wood trickle after that. And I'm able to get the Ottoman bills and just be ahead of him.
You say all this, but I feel like what he's doing, spice trade coming, he's already got foreign logging and probably still very capable of getting the Ottoman villages out and things like that. You say that you're ahead of him, but isn't that partly because you chose to send 600 wood immediately, which gives you that tangible points, on the board that come into play, whereas foreign logging, I believe, takes, several minutes to pay off, but isn't he setting up more for the longer game? And at the moment, the game's very, very slow, and that feels like that could pay off.
Yeah, so first of all, he's idled a bill so far in total, so I'm up by 1 bill there. But spice trade right now is 20% gather rate on food, so he's shipped a 1.6 villager shipment, and it's just a bad card. Like, spice trade sucks. So if he wants to send spice trade, he can, but he's going to be behind for doing it, right?
In the short term, perhaps. But then I guess the long term is very much dictated by how many units you get earlier on and things like that. So I can see it not ever paying off, but in theory, it's payoff, right?
Yeah, well, it only pays off as soon. This is actually a really important point. It only pays off as soon as you're gathering with enough bills on food for 20% to give you more than the villager shipment. So he needs to have 20 bills on food to break even, and he needs to have more. Every bill after that gives him a fraction of a villager, right? But realistically speaking, as India, look, he's got 7 bills on food. I have 7 bills on food. Spice trade is not paying off until it's just never paying off. It's just not a good card for India. Right?
I do agree with you. I agree with everything you're saying. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To really test your opinion on this and tell it. Okay, I'll let you.
No, I like it. I'm glad that I like the way that you're asking these questions. This is exactly what we're doing here, right? So I was trying to explain because I think a lot of people could be quite confused by that. A percent gather rate card it has to pay off later, right? Like it's just a percent gather rate versus a flat unit shipment, but it doesn't in the case of spice trade on India. So I'm going to send foreign logging now, and then if we bounce back over to ACERGAME, he has not sent 300 export, and so he's going to get Ottoman bills, I believe. I'll fast forward for just a second to see. Nothing really happening here, right? We're both just booming, but we're kind of comparing the booms. And what I'm thinking right now that we've advanced it about 15, 20 seconds, is, I'm up by 20 points. What is he doing? I know he's played this matchup before on this map. I can't remember who he's playing. It might have been Sam in the finals. And he walled off both these corners of the map and then aged up. And I think he won that game. I think he won that game, actually. So usually when players win with strats, they try to do them again, even you're just assuming that no one's going to remember that. But I did remember, and so I'm waiting to see, at this point I'm trying to see, is he going to H up or is he going to just keep making units?
Yeah.
Because
at this point, it does feel like a very slow game. So you're telling me your read is something he's done in a previous game, and that you're confident or more confident about what you might be doing based on that. But what is your read on him?
Yeah, my read on him now is he's massing H2 units because I lost a whole bunch. I saw him have at least 50 Gurkha, right? So I know he couldn't be aging right now, but I know in the future he might be able to. So I'm just trying to mass up some Zams here because once you have a massive Zams and this 4 Soar card comes, that usually is when you're at your strongest with India. The reason why you send 4 Soar is because you don't have many camels, so camel attack doesn't really help you, and it gives you the ability to have seven basically cav units, 10 goons, and then a whole bunch of Gurkha, right? So it's a really strong time. I see this wall go down, and I think that's a smart idea. I'll do that too. I drop my own wall, and I also try to stop him from finishing it. And you'll see, I actually didn't realize what he was doing quite yet. I actually ran away when I saw his army posture. But pretty soon, my mind I start to have this downtime where I'm just kind of thinking a bit, right? It's just macroing and thinking about where to go. Yep. And that's when I'll make the decision to go. Right around now is when I do, actually. So the Soar come in, I see him posture back. He's not trying to finish the wall. And I remembered he's done that before. He's aged up before. And so we look here, he's aging up right now. and pop back over to my view, I at least want to test him. I need to prove that he's not aging up, because the only way I lose now is if he's aging up, because I know I'm better at macro than he is and have a better build order by now, because I'm up by 20 scores.
So you have this really sneaking suspicion that he's going to be aging up here, and you want to go and test that.
Yep, and the test gets confirmed. The deeper you go, the less if you don't see the units, at this point, he's letting me come this far into his base. He's doing something like
you're almost playing chess here. This feels like you're just you're posturing like pieces to see how they'll react in a way. Like you're not actually no real fighting's going on here. This feels very much like a game of checkers. You're moving units around and seeing what their response is.
Yep, and I don't see anyone. I saw this mine being mined, but he ran from it. Like, why would you just run all your builds and just let me get in here if we're equal in score?
To you, does it, that he is aging?
Yeah, we're equal in score right now. So he's either doing an epic bait or he's aging, and history tells me he's aging. So I come in here and I find his army. I ran back, but then he runs, and that tells me he called minutes and he ran. That tells me to chase. Like, you need to chase it now.
Yeah.
So this Agrifort, this is a pain, by the way. This is. Like, these Agrifort positions will always catch a few of your units. It's so hard to remember to pull them every time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I'm just chasing him down here. I want to engage, because I feel like something's up here. Like, he wouldn't be running.
You want to get this before he combines it with unit shipments or upgrades or anything like that.
Yep.
And, knock him down whilst there's not that many units, because he spent them all on aging up. He spent all his resources on not making units effectively.
Exactly. And so another thing I do, when you're in a position where you have way more, you want to start making hand cap, because hand cap forces the issue. So I believe I canceled Zams. I may not have, but either way, I've got Sora in the queue, and they'll start filtering in here. The other thing, I don't care what's fighting what. Remember, we talked about times to be efficient and times just to make something happen. I actually ran my Zams right up in the front here and lost 4 or 5 of them just trying to slow him down and make the engagement happen. So, I don't really need the resources to be efficient. I just need to make sure that this fight happens, because once it happens, I'm going to clean him up real easily. And you'll notice right now I'm jamming stuff deeper in here to just try to focus down Zams. Very careful not to overkill. If you over micro it and start overkilling units, then you'll be wasting your micro basically. But you'll see very nicely all these Zams are falling apart, and Soras are getting in there. Now if these 5 Sora were something else, this fight would have taken a lot longer. And, every second counts. He's already Fortress Age, right? He's used his inspiration. So, by pushing the issue there at that moment, I was able to essentially, punish him for trying to age when you really can't afford to.
Yeah, but, if they do manage to sneak up, that does give them a significant advantage. And if you can sneak it in and get up, that is one way to take games. But here, you're very keenly aware of what could be going on, and you're testing for that to see if you're right, to make sure and you end up punishing for that decision he's made.
Yep, and I could have also ran away there, right? If he had units up here, I was not in an unescapable position. I had tons of Zams, well balanced army. I could have just kited my way out. At this point, I'm just trying to catch a bunch of villas. It's pretty obvious, right? So I'm also thinking I just need to keep making units, because at this point, he's lost his entire army, and India and H2 army is well-rounded enough. I expect there to be Urumi or elephants coming soon, so I'm making more Zams. I have 7 only. I know I need more of those, so the goal is to make sure I keep making Cav, because I've got 40 Gurkha, right?
So why are you expecting those 2 units types that you mentioned?
Because that's the only way you come back from this position. You don't come back with an 8 Gurkha shipment. You come back with a Urumi pop that kills everything. Yeah. And so it actually started lagging really hard here for real, like the first time the entire series. And I ended up walking my scrims up into these units, but it's okay. And one key thing that makes Mahouts really bad is that they do very little base damage. They have a large multiplier and splash. So if you just have a couple Soar even up there, just stopping them from getting to your skirms, they're basically just useless. And so you'll notice that these Soar here are basically just stopping the Mahu from doing anything. And my Zams are just, melting away at them. And, this was his last stand. When I killed these units, this is the moment where you've won, right?
Yep.
Because I've dealt with 2 shipments now. He sent 2 Mahu, 7 Urumi, and he popped out more units, which I killed. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm going to keep making units because India H2 is really good, and I want to, keep in that. But I want to just kind of round out and then maybe even age here soon.
Yeah. So what is the best thing to do at this point in the game are you thinking? Like, you've got him clearly on the back foot. You've got a huge amount of initiative. You're very clearly in the lead. What absolutely categorically wins you the game without with the least risk? What is your plan for the rest of the game?
Well, you know you've killed a whole bunch of bills. You know you're up by a whole bunch of armies. So the answer here is to slow roll it, right? When you have a huge economic lead and a huge military lead, your best bet is to continue to enhance the economic or tech lead, whatever else you want, while just kind of slow rolling it, right? I'm slow sieging the aggro. I don't really care about what he's doing back here. I just want to, keep the game very, very much in one place, very controlled and focused. If I let that aggro live and weird stuff starts happening, like weird raids are happening everywhere, I could potentially get outplayed. But it's pretty hard to get outplayed when you have a huge, massive army and a 20-bill lead. It's just one fight, right?
So what you're saying is you want to play very safe and minimize the risks of strange, unexpected things from happening. You just want to keep the game very much in your control so that, you already have this massive advantage. And obviously that's going to continue getting bigger as the nature of having an economic advantage would, and that scales into military, and then you outmass them and all of these things. You just want to maintain that and eventually just win. You're not going to take a risk and just walk into his base now, are you?
Nope, I'm not. I'm just staying on the outskirts. I don't need to be there. I saw the 2 Howdah shipment. That was kind of funny. Whenever you see elephant merc shipments, you know that you're just getting further and further ahead. I killed a whole bunch of bills here, and I continue to focus these on the Gurkha, and I ran the cav up here because I knew these guys might try to run, so I'd rather have them be snared, and these guys were already dead, right? So I just let them die, and that allowed me to get, instead of like 10 bills, I got 20 or so, and now, it's 25 bills to 50, and this game's over. I'm up by 80 points, so I'm just kind of hanging out here. I ended up going double stable, and you'll notice what bolstered most was the ZAM count, right? Because what surprises you the most is snaring cavs. So I have so many ZAMs that I'm never getting snared again, right? So I can even come in here and do pokes like this now because I have so many ZAMs. And I'm just trying to poke and keep him belled. And when I saw the second TC too, I thought, oh well, maybe he's trying to boom or something. But I'll just kind of sit here a little bit. And at this point, I've also trying to save to age. The mines on the map are totally out too. So that was a big challenge. I'm actually missing macro here because there were no mines left. I remember that pretty clearly. And this game's over, right? So maybe I'll even pause it now in case it goes out of sync, just to save us some time in advance. But 2 big things for me in this game were detecting the age up and then slow rolling the way to victory after that, without not getting too excited about my lead and trying to push it too hard.
Yeah, and I think also a large part of it was the build orders. I think that ought to be discussed as well. I think his build order had this very late game focus, or at least that was the initial impressions we had. But you seem to say, well, it's clear, like if you actually work out the percentages on Spice Trade, it's not that good. I think it is valuable in the sense that there are plenty of berries on this map, and it does scale over time, whereas a villager shipment doesn't, because once you've got 99 villages, it's obviously worth 9.9. I guess that's an argument. But I suppose the short-term burst of extra villages is maybe perhaps more valuable, but there's weird little things that you're comparing. Anyway, the point is, your build order optimized the game, or optimized your game plan for a timing that seemed to put you in the lead at just before him.
Yeah, exactly. I think you said it right. I mean, basically the overview is just Spice Trade isn't a good card for India for sure. Like, it's just not. I mean, we can make arguments for niche cases or something like that, like if you find a way to put all your bills on food, but really, it's too rigid of a card. And it's a good card on civs like Russia, where or even that Sioux, right? If I had that in that Sioux game where I had 30 bills on food, then it's a 6 villager shipment, which is pretty good. But so that's kind of that. I guess it's a good point. It was build order, it was the detection of the age up, and then it was not throwing the lead once I had it.
All right, and I think that does conclude game number 4 in this series. I think that's the last of H2O Explains we'll be doing for a while, but maybe we'll do some more. Let us know. Maybe we'll think about it if there's some more tournament games. Plenty to come, lots of action. If you're not sure where this tournament is or what I'm talking about, eso-community.net. Absolutely. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Do subscribe if you'd like to see more from us, and we'll see you all again next time.
Yes, thank you very much. See you guys.